The following is a presentation of KSL Sports. First and 12. A total roundup of this weekend's BYU football and the new look Big 12 Conference. First and 12 is sponsored by Macy's Grocery Store. Your hosts are Mitch Harper and Alex Kirry on KSL News Radio and the KSL Sports Zone.
Howdy, Big 12 fans. Coming to you from the great state of Texas.
Oh, you're in Texas for 5 seconds, and suddenly you're a Texan, Mitch Harper. How dare you?
Yeah, coming to you from Austin, Texas. Mitch Harper, Alex Kirry. Happy Sunday to all of you. First and 12, wherever you're listening, KSL News Radio, the KSL Sports Zone, the KSL Sports app, or the podcast. If you're listening on demand, we appreciate all of you tuning in every single week to get your weekly breakdown on the Big 12. We've got so much to unpack, Alex. I mean, this BYU-Texas game here in Austin that took place yesterday, and just another crazy week in this Big 12. We are just so lucky to have this show because so much great content to unpack every single week.
Every single week, and of course we start things out. You know I'm a Texan native. I was born in Austin. I'm a Travis County kid, man.
I know.
Now, that being said, I don't remember 1 second of when we lived in Austin. But you know what? I've been back a few times since, and I hope you were able to partake of some decent barbecue at least. Maybe you went for a nice run. Maybe you got snuck in like a half marathon on Saturday morning before the game. It seems a little bit like your vibe, right?
No, anything running, that is so not me. I am not
you
the
know those
TV
guys, though.
Broadcaster type that says, I did a hike up Y Mountain before the game. Like, no,
but
that
you know
is
what?
not me at all.
Hey, your co-host on Cougar Sports Saturday, I talked to Matt, and he goes, got to kayak down the Colorado River. I was like, dude, why do you have to keep Austin weird? You don't have to show up and keep Austin weird, bro. Come on.
Got some Terry's Black barbecue, so yeah, I
that's
good.
Yeah. That is good. You guys did it. Well, let's kick things off. It's our Big 12 headlines from another week in the conference. Let's jump to it.
12 headlines.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
The dozen storylines that shape this week of Big 12 football. Headline 1.
The Kansas Jayhawks. They get that big breakthrough win, defeating Oklahoma with Jason Bean at quarterback. KU is bowl eligible for the second consecutive year.
Yeah, and headline 2 is that Oklahoma is just like all those other teams with just one loss in conference, bunch of 4-1 teams in conference right now at the top of the standings, and now you got work to do. You were controlling your own destiny if you were the Sooners, and you know that target's on your back. You are big time having people coming after you, and now you took that loss to Kansas. That's not one you planned, and you got a long rest of the schedule there too for Oklahoma. 4 more games, everybody else trying to knock you off of that thing too. So I can't imagine them getting out of this thing unscathed. We're going to have some tiebreakers to figure it out going forward. I think at the end of the season here, see who's going to play in Arlington.
Kansas making a great case to say that they're going to be a mainstay in this Big 12 in years to come. As headline number 3, one of those outgoing members, Texas, they just methodically took down BYU 35-6. We'll have a lot more on this game, but a tough setback for BYU.
Yeah, and that headline 4 is that BYU's offense is just, a massive question mark. Or maybe you have the answer for what they are, because you know what they are now. You know that they are not producing, and something drastic might have to change for that BYU offense to get things going. But, yeah, 6 points on the board and less than 300 yards of offense again for BYU for another time this season. It's been really, really hard for A-Rod's offense to get things going here.
Headline number 5, Kansas State continues to look like a defending Big 12 champ. 41-0 win over Houston. Will Howard got the start at quarterback, and he was really good. 15 of 17, 164, 2 touchdowns, no picks. K-State is rolling.
Yeah, and Houston had that nice game where they came out and almost did it against Texas at home. And then, losing 41-0, scoring 0 points for a Houston offense who has so many athletes, that's embarrassing. That's you guys on a massive hangover, not being able to figure out after you put all your eggs in your basket against Texas. And then Kansas State finding their footing while Houston just doesn't know who they are still in this league.
Number 7, West Virginia. They're one step closer to getting bowl eligible. Might be time to get that contract extension fired up for Neil Brown, who looked to be on the hot seat. They get a 41-28 win at UCF in Orlando. 5-3 are the Mountaineers.
Yeah, I thought it was super weird. Like, that's the game where I thought UCF would have taken a lot from last week against Oklahoma and gone, you know what, we almost beat the conference, the top dog in the conference. We've kind of figured some things out. We run the football really well. And John Rice Plumlee is our leader, but no such luck. I mean, at Orlando, it's crazy. UCF and Cincinnati, this is headline number 8. UCF and Cincinnati both winless in conference. That's a shock to me. I think Cincinnati is a head scratcher for sure, but UCF was supposed to be a team that we were talking about in the top 4 or 5, Mitch.
Yeah, everyone around the Big 12 media thought of the newcomers, UCF was the most ready to step in and have success. But, you know, when you throw 3 picks in a game like John Rice Plumlee did on Saturday, you're not going to win many ball games in this league. And just the struggles of that moving up from the AAC to the Big 12, it's a lot bigger jump than I think people realize. Number 9, Oklahoma State. They put the hammer down on Cincinnati. Ollie Gordon, another big game. This Cowboys team, man, they are getting hot at the right time. 6-2, bowl eligible. That's just what Mike Gundy does. He always gets to the postseason.
I mean, think about how weird that loss was to USA.
Oh, yeah.
USA. Think about how crazy that front end of the schedule was for the Cowboys, who we had in the very basement of the power rankings. And they're just shooting right up that list. We'll be able to talk about that next hour. Headline number 10, Iowa State, speaking of teams that are just absolutely outperforming, I think, what people's expectations were. The Cyclones are now in a 4-way tie at the top of the Big 12 standings. They're all 4-1, and man, the Cyclones, Mitch, continue to perform week in and week out. That suddenly is a scary game with them coming to Provo in a couple of weeks.
No question. And headline number 11, Baylor, who Iowa State defeated 30-18. Their offensive woes showed up once again. So those changes that AD Mac Rhodes asked for from the offense, it showed up for a week, but it came back down to earth. And, you know, Blake Shapen put up a lot of passes, so they delivered on that front. But their ground game is just non-existent, and that's where the heart of Baylor is, and it just hasn't been found, and that's why they are a team that's floundering down the stretch.
Last but not least, on our headlines here to start off the show on 1st and 12, the college football playoff rankings are coming out this week. I love it because now you kind of know what you have with these teams, and it gets more and more interesting. People are trying to, you know, jostle for that position, and you know, this is where the beginning of the season rankings matter, right? And right when Oklahoma thinks, all right, we might sneak in here at the front end, they lose, take their eye off the ball. That was probably the only chance of getting somebody in the top 4 or 5 maybe to be able to be in that college football playoff conversation. But yeah, top 10 wise, Mitch, what's it going to look like? Is Texas obviously as the number 7 team, they probably make a case of themselves to be right up there, but they got 1 loss already on the season. I don't know who the Big 12 is going to have in that top 10. I think that you probably see Oklahoma just outside the top 10, maybe at number 10. But you still have 4 weeks left, and certainly if you're in the top 10, you got a shot.
If there's any hope of the Big 12 producing a playoff team this year, they need to be in the top 7. But I'm with you. I think they're going to be left out. The only team that might be in that top 10 to me is Texas, because I feel like they're one of those playoff committee darling type teams.
For sure.
Computers might not like them, but I think that the committee, the coach will put his fist on the table and say, that's a good football team with the talent,
right.
The recruiting rankings. So there's maybe hope for Texas, but I think everyone else, Kansas State, Oklahoma, you're going to be outside the top 10 and be looking up and hoping to make a late season push to climb that thing.
You know exactly how that meeting goes. They're meeting at the Gaylord Hotel in DFW area. Everybody get together. Let's talk some football. Mark Harlan's on that committee now from the University of Utah. So I'm interested to see how this thing shakes out and how they start to kind of jostle with those teams. I love unveiling those. We'll unveil them as soon as they go live on JJ and Alex on Tuesday when those rankings happen. All right, let's jump to the second portion of the show. We're going to get out to this BYU and Texas breakdown. Mitch was in Texas. Mitch is still in Texas, but Mitch was at the stadium for this one yesterday, and it was a lot. It was a lot to consume, and there's so many things to talk about. Unfortunately, a lot of negatives for this BYU offense and this team overall, losing 35-6 against Texas in Austin. We'll come back. We got more to go. Stay right here all the way, rest of the way with 1st and 12, right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone and KSL News Radio.